Hello friends, welcome back to another video in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Like we did last time with the Airbus A320, today we are going to take a look at the startup procedure and getting her to flight ready under 15 minutes. And this time we are going to use the 747 with the SALTY Simulations mod, which is the mod for the 747, and we are using the version 0.4.0, which is the latest stable version of this mod. Okay, we will be integrating a SimBrief flight plan, so we will be using that integration to pull this off under 15 minutes. And what we will do is we will set the aircraft up, our flight plan, we will calculate the performance, we will start the engines, and we will be ready to taxi to the runway under 15 minutes. That's the goal here. Okay, so before we start, we are over 5,000 subscribers now. I would like to thank everybody who showed their support to the channel and subscribed. I appreciate it a lot. And if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to leave me a like, and if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button to get notified for the future videos and turn on the bell at the same time. Alright, without further ado, let's jump into the cockpit, and then we will start our timer when we are in the cockpit, as you see there. So, let's do this. 3, 2, 1, and go. Alright, timer started. First thing we do, go to the overhead, standby power to auto, unguard the battery switch, and turn the batteries to on. And then we can do this a little bit more realistically. We can call the power truck, right? And then turn the external power on, and immediately we turn the IRS switches to nav for them to align, and we turn the nav lights to on to let the ground crews know that the aircraft is powered on. From here, we'll just look down and then set our screen brightnesses a little bit to increase the brightness. It's kind of bright outside, and we are currently at Lima Foxtrot Sierra Bravo Basel Euro Airport. This is something I purchased during the sale, and I'm enjoying this airport, so that's why we are here again. So that's the brightness, and the Ecam brightness is a little bit hidden down below here, so we turn on those two. And we are ready to program our FMS or FMC. We'll start with initializing our position. This is the ident page that tells you the active nav data and so on and so forth. Reference airport is Lima Foxtrot Sierra Bravo. We are parked at gate F5. And let's see if we can copy this position. Last time I wasn't successful with copying this, so none of that works. So what we will do is we will grab this and then plug it in here. We'll go to the route page and we'll send a route request to import our SimBrief plan. And as you see, you can either purge or load. In this case, we are going to load this. It will bring our plan here. So guys, let me tune out of that frequency so that we don't have to listen them. Alright, it should do it. Let's go back to the FMC. And as you see, our route is here now. We have to wait a little bit and then we will execute this. Let's check the next page. So that's our routing. And from here we'll select our departure. From runway 33 we will be departing using, let me check that real quick, LB7 November. This is our SID. We'll execute that. You can do this later on, but we can also select our arrival into Copenhagen. That's our destination today. We will be doing an ILS approach to runway 30. via the Mona 2 Delta arrival. And we don't have a transition, so we'll execute that. And that is our departure arrival programmed. Let's check the legs for any discontinuity at this point before programming and calculating our performance. We'll clear this by clicking that there. You can either copy and paste over the discontinuity, or what we can do is we can hit delete and then select the discontinuity. In this case, it's not gonna delete because we have vectors here, and that's what we need to delete. So let's try this one more time. Delete these vectors and then execute, and then that will clean up the discontinuity. And there's one over here too, so let's get rid of that too. And runway 30, and that was probably our holding point vectoring to the hold short position if we do missed approach. But that's our flight plan done. So if we go to the route, then we can swing to performance initialization, and we can also send this as a request to SimBrief, and then we can plug this in. That will update our fuel and weights and balances. Our cruising altitude from SimBrief is showing 240, flight level 240, which is not right because we have a step climb and that's the first step. But our eventually cruise altitude will be flight level 390. We'll plug that in there and we'll do our step climb accordingly, okay? Thrust limiter, we can do a 10% derated climb, and then we'll go to the takeoff. We are taking off with flaps 10, and that is our V-speed calculated for us. The FMC part is pretty much done. The fixed page is not still working, progress page not. We know, interestingly now I'm seeing 262 10,000, so I'd like to plug in 250 up to 10,000 as a speed restriction so that it overrides this one. I wasn't able to plug in the transition altitude for some reason, and it is still not working. This is the cruise, this is the descent, which is okay. And from there we can go to the menu. Or we can just do the weather request from here as well. So that's the nav radios. Go to the init, and then we can from here go to trying to think what it was. Yep, FMC com, and then pre-flight. So that's planned departure time. We can plug that in there. Right now the time is, if I look up, I should see the time somewhere here, which I don't. Maybe I'm looking to the wrong place. But you can plug the time there. Oh, time, the clock is over here because that's why I can't see it. Give me a second, guys. I'm trying to see the time. I remember there was a clock in this aircraft. Not sure now where it is. Because there should be one in each aircraft, but I'm not seeing it. So let's not worry about that. I don't see anything over here. Maybe we are just waiting for the GPS to align for the time to display. But over here, you can plug in your alternate from your SimBrief flight plan. And in this case, our alternate is Echo Delta Delta Papa. Oops, typo there slightly. So that's the alternate. Planned departure. So 1921 Zulu, and that should be correct if we check here. Oh, not quite. So it's 3:15 p.m. so that means 1:15 Zulu, so we can plug in planned departure as 20. Hold on. Maybe let's do this and see if it will take it. 1400 Zulu, so that's good. And company, I'm not sure what this is used for, to be honest with you, but it's the company, it could be. So we can go to the requests and we can request the weather and request METAR. We can go back to received messages. METAR is here. QNH is 1018. So we'll switch to hectopascals and then we will go 1018. There we go. That is set. We'll set our cruising altitude to 24,000 because we are doing a step climb. And the first step is 24,000. We'll set that one. And we'll turn LNAV, and VNAV is not quite working, so I'd like to climb with flight level change, and that will be 245 knots until we pass 10,000. At this point we can turn on the flight director. And that's pretty much it. ARS looks like is aligned. We can quickly check our flight plan. Let me see how many minutes we spent. So 9 minutes. So we'll go up here. In the meantime, we'll start our APU by pulling the switch to start and go down to see what else we can do here. So that looks good. We'll leave this at the legs page. Auto throttles, we will arm them. We can take a look at the flight plan real quick, increase the range a little bit, and then we can step through this very quickly to see how it looks like while the APU is starting. And the APU running message is here. So at this point we are ready to request pushback and start our engines to taxi to the runway because everything else is pretty much set up. Just checking the flight plan very quickly here, just to make sure everything looks okay, which it does. Let's increase the range to somewhere like 10. That looks good. And then at this point, we'll call the pushback tag. Pushback, start pushback. The tag should be driving up now, as you see, and the ground power is disconnected because we are now on APU power. Should be. And we can turn on the APU power right now. We'll also turn the, let me go here, turn on the fuel pumps because we are about to start the engines. We don't have any fuel in the center and stab tanks, so we will leave this alone and we'll turn the beacon on to both. And switch around. The tag is now there. Disconnect the parking brake, or disengage the parking brake rather, and our parking pushback route is straight back, so we'll just hit reverse and then we will start with starting with engine 1 here. Let me bring back pushback window and pull it to this side. And we are waiting for 1.8 here, and we are also going to monitor the pushback to make sure we are not going to hit anywhere. We see the engine spooling 1.5, 1.6. We'll turn the fuel and the engine should start running. That's the engine. This is the heat blower. This is the problem with the 747. There's an animation problem that Asobo needs to fix. Alright, that engine is looking good, so we can, I believe you can start 2 engines at the same time with this aircraft, so we'll start and continue with engine number 4 while engine number 1 is getting online. I'm gonna take a look outside. That looks great. We are looking good here. 1.0, 1.1. The time is getting ready to turn the fuel on. So that's gonna take care of the start for engine number 4, and we'll continue with engine number 3 and 2 as going to be our last engine that we will be starting. Okay, we'll just command the tag to start pushing the tail to the left to align with the taxiway, which is over there. And I can show you that is the taxiway. So that's not the the tug is struggling to push this. We can hold the position there, and we can set the parking brake and end the pushback here. So both engines look good. We'll continue with engine number 3. Alright, that looks good. 0.3, 8, 9, slowly getting there. And let's add the fuel. And we can go to the overhead again and then push the switch pull the switch for engine number 2, which is our last engine that we will be starting. Looks like we had a good engine start for number 1 and number 4, and you started to see messages here saying bleed 4 off, bleed 1 off. That's happening because the SALTY mod gives you option to control engine bleeds manually, so we'll turn engine bleeds on for the engines we started. 2 is good to add fuel, so that will start her up, and we should be on our way shortly. Both engines looking good on this end, both engines looking good on this end. So we started our engines 14 minutes 45, not too bad. I think it's fair to say less than 15. So that's taxi lights turned on, and then we will set our takeoff flaps to flaps 10. There we go. And last thing we need to do is we are going to turn off the APU. So we can turn off the APU now. All engines had a good start, so that means we can turn off the parking brake and start getting to the runway. We can use this taxiway here, and we can turn on the bleed 2 now. So she starts moving, I guess, shortly. So she's a little bit heavy and takes time for her to start moving. But 15 minutes is passed, but we are heading to the runway, so I'll call it a success. And we started 4 engines. So we'll keep the thrust around 35% M1 so that we taxi nicely. Ground speed is increasing, and when you are turning, do not try not to exceed 10 knots in this aircraft. There we go. We can, I think, look a little bit higher to see where we are and start making that turn slowly into runway 33 of Basel Euro Airport. That aircraft looks like floating to me, not sure. And there is another aircraft that is parking, Sun Express, or taxiing to parking position. Yeah, all the aircraft are looking like they are up in the air floating. Not sure why. So one thing about Boeing 747 is she is not the fastest turner and she is not the fastest moving aircraft, so be careful when taxiing in her, and try not to apply too much rudder because it will block the wheel and she is not gonna turn. Alright, that is runway ahead of us coming. What we can do is we are about to enter the active runway, so that means strobe comes on. Landing lights, we assume we have taxi clearance, and leave her like this for now. And yep, everything looks good. Lights are on. We can turn the seatbelt signs. We plug in our transponder code. We turn the transponder to altitude reporting. And let me take a look and make sure we are not skipping taxiways and not going something we shouldn't be going. And we'll look at the pedestal when we line up. Alright, slowly turning around. Trying not to stress her too much, at least the nose wheel, because it is hard to turn this aircraft. It's hard to learn. It was hard to learn for me, so you need to act very slowly and take your time. That looks good to me. We'll hit the toe brakes here. Parking brake for a second, and we'll take a look at the pedestal. Let's see here, that's our transponder. We'll come over it a little bit and we'll just turn it to TA array. Okay, that's good now. TCAS is probably not working yet. It is not. And that's about it, because we are not using ATC or radios, so we are ready to take off from Basel. Lights are looking okay, everything looks good, bleeds are on, I don't see any problems here. We'll turn the anti-ice to auto before takeoff, and let me verify that because I can't see well from here, so they are all on all automatic. This one too. The packs look good, everything else is looking okay, so that means we are ready to do our takeoff run. Alright, forward stake pressure or yoke pressure. We'll go disengage the parking brake and then off we go. Alright, that's our takeoff run. Sort of short runway, but I think we should be fine. We are already getting to V1. That's the V1 call out. And then we rotate. There we go. Follow the flight director for a 10-degree pitch and correct the wings a little bit. There we go. And then we can get landing gear is coming up, positive rate, and then we'll pull the throttles to climb. Auto thrust is armed, and we are going to follow the flight director to speed up and clean the flaps, like so. So flaps 1, and we are coming to flaps up speed, which is good, and we should be turning by now. So at this point, autopilot comes on and everything else is on the autopilot. There you have it, guys. Clean Up Skies departed from Basel on her way to Copenhagen. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please give me a like. That helps a lot. And turn on the notifications and subscribe to the channel to get notified for the future episode. Thanks for watching. I appreciate every one of you, and I will be seeing you in the next video.